Two truths and a lie. Do you know this game? I love it. Want to play? Great. I'll start. Okay. I was the captain of my high school basketball team. I was the captain of my college rugby team, and I've done porn. Now, if you say, wait a minute, I don't think you were captain of your high school basketball team, you would lose the game. And if you were to say, I don't think you did porn unless you got into that weird little fetish of small pee-pee porn, then you would win. That is how you play two truths and a lie. I want to do that about what is now demonstrably the most important domestic issue in the 2024 presidential election, the southern border. Not just immigration, but the conflation of national security and the economic impact and the drug impact, and yes, the partially phobic, partially realistic and reasonable regard for a broken immigration system. So we're going to play two truths and a lie. Why? Because Trump has realized that this is the issue. Now you can say, no, he's made it the issue. Either way, it is the top domestic concern in recent polling for both sides. Both sides. That's the shocker. Why do Democrats care about this? Well, how the hell did that happen? Is it because they have these accelerated concerns about making sure it's an open border? No, that's an exaggerated notion like late-term abortions. Okay, that's the exception to the rule. That's something that rarely ever happens. People believing that we should have no border and anyone should come in whenever they want are an extremely small number of people in power. Okay? And even those qualify the fuck out of it every time they're asked. Okay? So I'm not going to spend a lot of energy on that. So we got to talk about why Democrats see it that way. And I believe the reason they see it is because they can see that it's not working. It's not even fair to the CBP people who are putting their lives on the line for us every day. They're totally outmanned. They're outgunned. They don't have the resources. They don't have the regard. They don't have the rules. We're just setting them up, not just for failure, but for danger. And people get it. And just because Trump's talking about it all the time doesn't mean it's bullshit. I mean, that's usually a good indication that something could be bullshit, but it's not in this case. And Biden and the Democrats have slept on it, and it is such a case of political malpractice. I really don't get it. And I'm somebody who has pretty good access to his people. Not like I used to, right? Because after all the drama with my brother, you know, like the Democrats went bad on him, right? Rightly, wrongly, their party, they got their rules. He's on their team. He broke the rules. This is what happens. Now, Democrats care about immigration. Republicans care about immigration. Two truths and a lie. Trump is saying, vote for me because I will fix it. Vote for me because migrants are coming here and raping and killing, and it's out of control. Donald Trump is saying, vote for me because Biden has screwed up the southern border and made it a real danger. Two truths and a lie. Which is the lie? If you're Democrats, you're going to say, well, that Biden did it. Well, you're wrong, okay? Biden owns this bitch 7 days out of 7, okay? And here's why. He hasn't acted. No, it's on the Republicans. The Senate bill, that bill was going to have trouble in the House. It was better than nothing. And yes, McConnell said the quiet part out loud that they're going to keep it as a problem because it works better than as a solution for politics. Welcome to the game. Welcome to the poison two-party system that I tell you about all the time. Leave the party, be an independent. It's the only thing that's going to get us to a better place. They'll never change it themselves. It works for them, okay? So He should be doing executive action. He should be pushing for legislation. He should have the agencies doing more. He should be declaring emergencies. He should be doing everything he can, and he's doing nothing. Now, is it an open border policy? No. Are they enforcing the laws? Best they can. They are overwhelmed. So that is not the lie. Biden owns this bitch of an issue. He owns it, and it could beat him. Okay. So that's a truth then. Yeah. Okay. Vote for me because I will fix it. Now, I will call that a truth also. Why? Because Trump will almost assuredly do something about it. Will they be the right things? Will they equate to fix? That's a political subjective judgment. We'll have to see what happens, what he does, how he does it, why he does it. But I think that's true. I do think he's going to do things on it, certainly more than Trump did. We know that than Biden did, because Trump did do these things because he was fortunate to have people working for him at Homeland Security who came up with a great kind of cobbled together framework of deals with home countries that kept a lot more of the processing and the policing of migration there instead of here. And Biden got rid of much of that, and it was a mistake. So that's a truth. Summertime, where do we go? What do we eat? Oh, what about this? 2 different ideas. 1, if you're going to travel, you really want to sleep on those nasty sheets that they have? 2, you're going to stay home. Don't you want the most comfortable experience? Guess what the answer is to both? Cozy Earth. You got great sheets, help you temperature regulate. They use bamboo in some of their products, which is so sustainable. Don't have to feel guilty about how they make it. Cozy Earth. Right now, 35% off with the code Chris at checkout. Very luxurious Cozy Earth stuff. You got the loungewear, fashionable, but also functional, elevates, transforms your entire travel experience. Their bedding, soft, buttery smooth. But who wants to sleep on hotel sheets? You gotta bring your own sheets. If you're not bringing your own sheets, you're asking to bring something home from vacation that you didn't want, all right? You want to rest easy on vacay? You better bring your own sheets, okay? And take a trip to cozyearth.com/Chris, type in my personal code Chris at checkout, and you'll get an exclusive 35% off. Promo code Chris, 35% off. My way of saying thank you for being a part of the project. Oh, please, choose podcast in the survey after ordering, and then my show is going to be in the drop-down menu. Thank you, and happy sleeping. It's getting warmer. You want to be fit. You don't want to be inside. You know what that's a recipe for? Fueling up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Factor, meet your wellness goals in time for summer. You need the right fuel. You can't out-train your diet. You need chef-crafted meals. Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, whatever your vibe is. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals, key to keeping the nutritional value, are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So, you're busy? Of course you are. You want to get out, but you want to enjoy something that's giving you what you need, including great taste. That's what Factor's all about. Head to factormeals.com/Cuomo50. Use code Cuomo50. Why is it 50? Because you get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off the next month. That's code Cuomo50 at factormeals.com/Cuomo50, and you get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Zbiotics. Let me tell you something. We all know that there can be a tendency to overdo it when you drink, right? Hello, Zbiotics. How does it work? Alcohol screws you up because it gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not just dehydration as we've always thought, that's to blame for the rough next day. Zbiotics produces an enzyme to break down the byproduct. You see? You just got to remember to take Zbiotics as your first drink of the night. And of course, don't be a sponge. If you're responsible about your drinking and you start with Zbiotics, you will feel fine the next day. How do I know? Because I've done it. I'm not just saying I've drunk too much. That's happened dozens and dozens of times, which is why I drink very, very rarely. But when I do, I try to think before I drink. And that's where Zbiotics comes in. Go to zbiotics.com/Chris and you'll get 15% off your first order. Use Chris at checkout. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, if it didn't work, if it's not what I said, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/Chris, use the code Chris at checkout, you get 15% off. And I want to thank Zbiotics for sponsoring this episode and future good times. Well, then what does that make the lie? Wait a minute. The lie is the layup? The lie is the thing that we hear most often? That migrants are committing crime? Do you not know who Katie Steinle is? Do you not know the name Laken Riley? That beautiful kid in Georgia living her best life, goes out for a run and gets this illegal, savaging her, raping her, and killing her. Well, I don't know about the allegation of rape. I know I read it on social media all the time, but that's not what we know. But whether it happened or not, the murder certainly seems to be at the hand of somebody who came in here illegally. Yeah, right. Should have never happened. One is too many. Boy, I wish you applied that standard to every other kind of criminality that we have and injustice that we have, that one is too many. It's interesting how you apply it when it's convenient. But is it true that migrants bring crime? No, not disproportionately to those who are here legally. Who says? Everybody. No, that's not true. Trump and all these other people. I know. He's wrong. And he's lying because he wants to scare you and create a perception of the brown menace, as I call it, that they are coming here to rape your women and take your jobs, right? Neither of those are true. The job part, they're taking jobs that you don't want or you don't know how to do. And that takes us to the artisanal class, the artisans, or skilled workers who know how to make things and fix things and design things. That's where the jobs are. Remember the classes we used to have in high school? Shop class, the vocational arts. They decided to take the art out of it and make it some kind of bad, lesser thing. And they called it Votech. As Mike Rose says, once you hyphenate something, it's on the road to ruin. And then it was just gone. Seen as like art class. Like this is like, we don't need this. This is like playtime. This isn't doing anything for the kids. Not only do I not agree with that when it comes to the arts, we need beauty. We need to understand the aesthetic. We need to understand how to create and how it can move and motivate. That matters. It matters. But more importantly, that ain't what plumbing is. That ain't what electrical is. Electrical engineering, carpentry, construction, mechanical work. There is an art to them. Absolutely. These are crafts. This is skill. There is a beauty in it. But it ain't finger painting. And we need it. Those are the jobs available. And these people are coming with their lack of education and their lack of relative sophistication, but they have ambition. And they've learned things, and they're coming here, and they'll learn on the job, and they'll do it. And those are the jobs. So they are not stealing your jobs. These are jobs that you are robbing yourself of by making a determination that everybody should go to college and take on a ton of debt and get a philosophy degree or an art history degree or some nonsense BA degree that may be great on one level. I studied philosophy. I still do. But I also entered the marketplace as a lawyer because there was opportunity then. That's not what they're doing. Yeah, but they're bringing that crime. We just told you they're raping this stuff around. Every study done by left, center, and righty organizations reveal that the rate of criminality, criminal behavior among illegal entrants is no higher or lower than the rest of society. How? They entered illegally. Isn't it over right there? That is a false premise. We're talking about the crimes they commit once they're in the country. The drug mules. These are the minority, the very, very small slice. Look, the drug thing is real. They just bring in most of it in vehicles. Fentanyl is the worst thing I have ever seen in my life as a threat to American life. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are not doing enough, and we do not realize it. And we should treat the cartels for what they are, and you should have a war on them, but you also have to have a war on the demand. Too hard, no real advantage over the other side, so it's ignored. But it is a lie that migrants are here robbing and raping and killing their way into our blood, as they poison our blood, as Trump said, because our blood's so pure, right? Ain't nothing pure as American blood, right? I wonder if they could even find a DNA pattern that they can will show someone is like, like a genetic pattern that shows that you're American. I don't think there's any chance. We're all nuts. The melting pot. Remember? They're ruining our blood. They are our blood. I'm second generation in this country. Now I'm just a privileged white guy, right? My father was a swarthy ethnic. Mercurial Mario with the circles under his eyes and his Italian rage and his mafia alleged connections. Now I'm just a white guy, right? One generation difference. So we're all immigrants in this place. Let's be honest, unless you're Native American. And even they came from a different place when you still had the plates connected. What's the point? That Biden's got trouble on the border of his own making. That if Trump were president, there'd be a lot more done about what happens at the border. Good, bad, right, wrong, you decide. The lie is that you have to vote for him because the migrants are the root of our crime problem. They are not the root of our crime problem. Economic inequality is the root of our crime problem. And by the way, the numbers are trending back down because we're getting farther away from the pandemic. No, you can't go on the subway in New York City. Listen, back in the 70s, almost into the 80s, you wouldn't have made it 5 minutes in New York City if you think now it's intolerable, okay? When crack was whack and homeless, you think they're around now? At least they're recognized as an issue now, thanks to a generation of leaders like my father and my brother, frankly, who started an organization that became one of the largest housers and transitional bodies of homeless people in the country. Anyway, they don't commit crime at greater rates. They don't. Look at the studies. Oh, but I've heard that some of those studies are questioned and that they show that they don't use the data. Yeah. And then the people like the Cato Institute, who have been criticized by even far-right organizations, and Cato is not a liberal institution, okay? It's not a liberal outfit. Trust me. Google them. They went back at the critics and said that they were the ones fudging the numbers. All right? Biden deals with this by saying that an illegal killed Laken Riley. But if you're worried about murder, you should be worried about the murders committed by legals, not just by illegal. The lefties get a hold of him, and he comes back and apologizes, not for sleeping on the problems at the border, not for not doing anything about it, not with a new set of initiatives, but to change his vernacular and to say, I'm sorry. Oh, good. For what? I shouldn't have called them illegals. I should have called them undocumented. Oh, for the love of political correctness, bleeding hearts of the world, unite. That's what you're apologizing for. Caving to this lefty, fringy bullshit. Does it matter that you don't call? Yes, people are not legal or illegal. They're human beings. Talk about their status as a status, undocumented. Fine. They're not illegals. That's not the problem. Yes, we're dehumanizing them. Okay. But stop the ungodly flow of people. It's bad for them. It's risky for them. It's dangerous for them. It's dangerous for our people on the border doing the job. It's dangerous for us here. The streets of New York City are flooded with people with nowhere to go, and they're giving them food cards when you've got all these people struggling to survive. And you got these people who are not supposed to be here. And that is not what Emma Lazarus was talking about. That is not the promise of the new Colossus. That is not what is the meaning of the motto at the foot of the Statue of Liberty. Reopen a series of Ellis Islands all along the southern part of this country. Have mass processing centers where people can get the treatment, the attention, and the requirements that the situation demands, where they can be housed and processed. Catch and release is the stupidest policy I've ever heard of in my life, and you know it. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Build your infrastructure. Change your rules. Economic hardship is not an asylum case. It shouldn't be. Fix these things. Stop caving to the weakness of a fringe identity on the left flank of your party. Shame on them. If they care so much about these people, they should be changing the rules and upping the resources and allowing the men and the women to do the job. And yes, it's a national security issue, because you got people who come in here and they're just looking for a job. They're coming from places that don't like us. They're coming from places that send people places to do bad shit. It's gone too far and too wide. And you now are doing the worst thing in politics, which is you have a problem, so you just don't want to, you will ignore it. You're like a fat guy who's covering the mirrors in his house. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. You guys don't want to talk about it. It's a mistake. You don't want to do anything about it. Now you got paralysis by analysis. We don't know what we can do. Do anything. Two truths and a lie. Biden owns it. Trump would do more about it. You may not like what he does, but he'll do more about it. But it's not a problem because the migrants are fucking monsters, okay? The monsters are the people who refuse to do anything about it. And by the way, that goes to both sides. And squarely on the head of Mr. Trump, who was absolutely the motivation behind what McConnell admitted. It's his guys and him who didn't want them to do a deal on the border because he knows it works for him as something to scare you about. Can you believe that that's the level of leadership that you're considering right now? Someone who would rather not have a problem dealt with so that you can be worried about the problem and choose them. How fucked up is that? That's the two-party system. That's where it's gotten us. That is the reductive battle to the bottom of zero-sum politics that only a binary system can yield. I'm telling you, leave the parties, be an independent, make them work for your vote. Don't be a sucker, be a free agent, okay? Two truths and a lie. And the biggest truth of all is that immigration is going to matter more in this election. The southern border as a condition wrapped with all these issues may well be the issue that makes the difference in the upcoming election. Thank you for subscribing and following. Thank you for being with me here at the Chris Cuomo Project. Oh, but the ads. Go to the Substack, thechriscuomoproject.substack.com. I love doing ad reads. I love partnerships. I really do. But if you don't, you can go right there, toss me a Lincoln so that I can pay for these guys' expensive habits, and you will get ad-free, and you will get access to everything that I'm doing to identify, treat, and hopefully overcome long COVID. And if you have questions that you want to discuss with me directly, you may. Get the app Minect, M as in Mike, I-N-N like November, ECT. And you can get me, and I will respond to your text. And we can do video calls, and groups can set them up, and I'll do a FaceTime or a Zoom with your group. And I'm happy to do it. My time is worth something, so we'll figure it out. It's pretty cheap as these things go. Get tens of thousands of dollars to give a speech. This is like a few Jacksons, and all of a sudden you're going to see, what my workout is that day. So you can get me there, and you can get me at News Nation every weekday night, 8 p. Eastern and 11 p. Eastern. My friends, the problems are real, but so should be our resolve. What do you say? Let's get after it.